Black people, we've got to fight. Zumbi, you see us. Oh, whoa, we've got to fight. Let's go fight. Oh, oh. Black people, we've got to fight. Yes, until why you see us. Oh, whoa, we've got to fight. Let's go fight. Oh, oh. Black people, we've got to fight. Bookman, you see us. Oh, whoa, we've got to fight. Let's go fight. Oh, oh.
We have to have the courage to construct our own reality. And that's what Garvey was talking about. Because he said he looked around, he didn't see what he thought should be there. And so what did he do? He didn't get depressed about it. He didn't get defeated about it. He said, I'm going to build the government that we need to have. Ooh. Where do you get that kind of boldness from? So we got to go all the way back to Garvey, who said he would come again. He said he would be here with us, no matter how long it took. And I'm telling you that the way he comes back is in our work. Not honoring him in words, pomp, and all of that stuff, but honoring him through doing what he did. How many of us had the courage to do that? The man took on the world for us and in our name. And then we come to Sodai. And in this presentation of the paradigm, I'm going to make this like what it is we want to reach. So Sodai is translated clear word in Dogana language. And I use it to mean that here we gain understanding. This is sight with understanding. And it is seeing beyond what just we think we see with this physical thing. It's seeing beyond that. And so we gain vision, because that's what vision is. With vision, you've got to be able to use the imagination informed by the African spirit. And Brother Amos, who I work very closely with, was a good friend of mine. He taught me, and he would talk about imagination. Image a nation. Do you see? But that's got to be part of vision. To be a visionary, you got to see beyond this box here. You got to see beyond the ma'afa. You got to see what is it that our people rightfully should have, and that's what Garvey did. Garvey had a vision.
Greetings, family.
Greetings, family.
And welcome to our brother Nate.
Hey, you're right. Greetings,
yes,
greetings.
Good.
Greetings, Nate.
Yeah, good. I'm trying to plug in headphones, but I can hear you coming out the phone, so it's probably not for today. You can hear me right though, yeah?
Yes, very clearly. And you can hear us?
Okay. Yeah. That's fine.
Okay, I think there's like a tiny delay, but it's all good. We'll work with it. So welcome, family. We are here for Revolutionary Minds. Are we here? Present?
Yeah.
Excellent. So, intros.
Yeah.
Is it just the three of us today, guys?
We'll see.
We'll see. We'll see who's gonna join. Yemaya cannot join today, and I think Danny's joining. And Watusi, he's launching his brand new project today, so I'm not sure.
I'll check that out. So dope. Have you heard it yet?
I've heard.
Did you hear the track about John Horse?
No, you know, I've only got to ink my pen. Ink
Okay.
in my pen. And I had to keep reloading. I haven't got past reloading that bit yet.
Okay.
Yeah, I have to big. I'm gonna big him up anyway.
It was the John Horse track for me, though. I must say, the John Horse track was cold.
What
the John Horse track was. I connected to that one. Do you know what I'm saying?
Scene. What one is that? What track?
It's one of the last few. I think it's probably third or fourth from the end of the project.
Okay. Yeah. No, I'm stuck on ink in my pen or something. Yeah, that one. Fire. Big up to both of them, man.
Very prudent for who we're discussing today, right? She had ink in her pen.
Yes. So let's get into it, family.
But yeah,
but everyone check out Watusi 87 and Poetica's brand new project. It's called Sentimentality. Is it Sentimentality? Yeah, Sentimentality. They're two dope artists. Watusi 87 is actually a Revolutionary Mind poet as well, a Garvey Village poet. So we'll see if he today.
Hopefully you'll come through today.
Yeah, otherwise it's just going to be us three rocking and rolling. But yeah, all right, cool. So this is Out of Noise, hosted by Stella B and myself, Nat Nye. We're joined
Out of Noise.
Hey. We're joined by the mastermind behind the Revolutionary Minds, Nate the lyricist. And yeah, give thanks to Kimbunga Media for the platform. And this is the bit where
each and every time.
Nate, for those that don't know Wagwan, what is this Revolutionary Minds we're embarking on? What was this Revolutionary Mind hype?
So hold on. Firstly, let me just try and turn my thing sideways and see if it does anything. Am I just sideways now?
Yeah.
I'm just sideways now. Okay, cool. All right, I'm gonna keep it like this then. Okay, yeah. So Revolutionary Minds it's a concept that I came up with a while back, actually. If I think back to it, really, it came back to when I was at my Black History Studies class with Mark Simpson, you know, and he said, like, what do you want to do with, he asked everyone in the room, what do you want to do with the information you're learning? And I was like, I want to turn it into poetry. You know, that's one thing that I really wanted to do. For those who don't know Black History Studies, definitely worth checking them out. www.blackhistorystudies.com. They do like tours of the British Museum. They do trips to Africa. They do classes, and I took one of their classes. And their kind of slogan is educating the community to educate themselves. You know, so I took the course, and I've kind of had that bug since then that I've really wanted to know more, and I really wanted to kind of turn it into poetry. You know, that was just those two things there. I just couldn't separate them. So I was looking for an opportunity. And the opportunity really came when Nat and Stella invited me to Auntie Jean's Market, which is the third Sunday of every month in Brockley. Absolutely amazing market. So each month there are different vendors there who are selling copper, who are selling books, who are selling food, etc. And there was an open mic there, you know. So I thought, you know what, let me bring this idea. So now each month, with the help of Nat and Stella and many other of the Garvey Village poets, what we've been doing is each month we choose a different revolutionary mind. We spend the month studying that person, and then we write poetry about them and we perform it at Auntie Jean's Market. So again, that's not to say that after 1 month's worth of study, you know, we're experts on the person. It's more about educating the community to educate themselves. You know, it's interactive. It's something we've got young people studying Harriet Tubman. You know, we've got elderly people studying or talking about Frank Critchlow. You know, so it's definitely a community-centered project that we've been working on, and we've been working on it for over a year now. So I'm extremely proud to see the way that it's flourished and blossomed, some of the platforms that have opened up to us, you know, from within the community because of the work that we've been doing. You know, some of the young people that have even just passed through and shared poetry, some of the young people that have been with us consistently, just watching the way the community has blossomed and the way that we've all learned has been absolutely revolutionary for me. Yeah, I will say that. In studying these different revolutionary minds, it's given me a relatively holistic perspective on Black history. You know, like studying Kandake Amana Renas and studying Haile Selassie has helped me to understand East African history a little bit better, you know, or a little bit more holistically. Or studying Kimpa Vita and studying Patrice Lumumba helped me to understand Congolese history, like holistically. So these are some of the benefits that I've found. Long may it continue is an idea that I encourage everybody and anybody to get onto, you know. Like, it's not that we've studied Ida B. Wells and now we know everything about Ida B. Wells, but Ida B. Wells, her story crosses over with Frederick Douglass. You know, her story crosses over with so many people. Yeah, hopefully some of who will speak about today. So in learning about her story, just taking the time to look at her in depth, do your due diligence. Then when we get to Frederick Douglass, or when we get to, you know, who am I thinking of? What's his name? He wrote The Souls of Black Folk, W.E.B. Du Bois. You know, when we get to Du Bois, when we get to like these different names, we'll see Ida B. Wells' name come back up and we'll cross-reference, you know, and it will give us a holistic idea of the history that we're dealing with. And I'm really loving that. I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, that's the idea behind Revolutionary Minds. That's what we've been doing. And that is what we're going to continue to do. You know, today we're studying Ida B. Wells, who was a journalist, and she was an absolutely phenomenal human being. She was like 30 revolutionary mind. You know, very proud to be studying her. There's no question. Do you know what I'm saying? There's no question about this woman's commitment to the cause, about the work that she did, about like where her heart was at, where her mind was at, like the thought processes that kind of carried her to where she got to. I'm really looking forward to getting into as much of it as we can, because she has a very busy life, you know.
Busy is the right word.
Very okay, wait, before we dive in, do you want to mention, you mentioned some of the names, do you want to mention any more names that we've gone through?
Sure. Yeah. Steve Biko, Winnie Mandela, Kwame Nkrumah, Patrice Lumumba, Kandake Amana Renas, Frank Critchlow, Haile Selassie, Marcus Garvey, who am I missing? Who am I missing? John Jack Dessalines, man. Wow. Who else?
Assata.
Did I not say Assata? Assata Shakur. My bad. I didn't say Assata.
Kimpa Vita.
Have I covered everyone?
Yeah, I think you covered everybody.
Do you know what? I didn't say Kimpa Vita this time. I said her before, but I didn't say it just now. So Kimpa Vita. Yeah. I think we should be on about 13 people by now, right?
Yeah.
Booker T. Washington, man, one of my favorites. Look, I forgot my favorites: John Jack Dessalines and Booker T. Washington. That's crazy.
That's how many we've done.
That's how many that has been done. It's been a lot, and like you said, I think it's the 13th this month. I think IDP was is the 13th, and last month we covered the Honourable Marcus Messiah Garvey, who, in what you were saying about the crossover, they had dinner together, even though I think there's like a 25-year gap between the time of Ida B. Wells' birth and Marcus Garvey is 25 years. We worked out.
Yeah, she's got 25. She's 25 years
older
than Marcus Garvey.
But they invite him to dinner, and she's very like impressed by him and everything like that. And I feel like there's even they call her an even more problematic than Marcus Garvey, or even more
by far more
dangerous
agitator.
Yeah,
than
a
Marcus
far
Garvey.
more dangerous agitator than Marcus Garvey. Which tells you,
I respect it.
You know what I mean? It's because her key thing was the journalism, right? And also the deep research which we're going to go into. She was doing, like, she was conducting an early form of data and inventing private detectiveship. Like, you know, we watch Columbus and all these kind of private detective,
Inspector Gadget
and all these programs, and we see these crazy what's the other famous one? Poirot and Sherlock Holmes. It's like she was the first to do all of that. Like, she's not credited for her innovation of that. Like, basically going in and researching and collecting data, interviewing people who were at the scene last and finding out all the information, all that kind of exciting stuff she was doing. So I just think that just upgrades her status. Her status for coolness. That is just dope. But yeah, we're gonna go.
I just want to say,
look at Danny's Messi.
Yeah, big up that. One of my favorite.
I'm ashamed.
How did we forget?
I'm ashamed.
I did a poem to honor him.
Oh, what?
I'm ashamed.
Was it?
No, Patrice Lumumba was, but look, you're not looking.
Oh, where is it?
Right there.
Ah, Thomas Sankara.
I'm ashamed. Oh dear. I'm actually glad. Do you know what as well? Yeah, I was thinking of your display, and I was trying to think of everyone in that order, you know, and then there was like a fuzzy area where Sankara was that I must have just missed. Because boy, like
he's kind of
Thomas Sankara, absolute absolute revolutionary mind. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
The epitome of it.
Yeah, because he did the thing.
Exactly.
He did it.
Real revolutionary there, man. Wow.
He did it.
I love your piece that you did about him as well. Talking about complete constructive change. Constructive change. Do you know what I'm saying? What?
He actually did it.
In 4 years.
He proved that.
In 4 years. When we're like, oh, not in our lifetime. That's what Ida B. Wells and all these people don't think like that. They want the change today. They're not like, oh, for 50 years, and they don't respect that. They're like, let's get it done. Like, we've got the capabilities in us. Yeah. I love that. So
okay, so Jeremiah, as I said this, what has this got to do with Ida B. Wells? So you just jumped in. So real quick, we're just giving you a breakdown of what Revolutionary Minds is and who we have covered. So Thomas Sankara is one of the people. If you go back and listen to this from the beginning, you'll hear Nate's giving a thorough breakdown in terms of what Revolutionary Minds is, and Thomas Sankara is one of the people we touched on. But yeah, this month, Ida B. Wells.
The focus is Ida B. Wells. Yeah.
Yes.
Ida Bell Wells Barnett.
Yeah.
Ida Bell Wells Barnett.
Yes.
Yeah.
Barnett and her husband, who she married much later on. But yeah, you're gonna go in, aren't you, Nate, brother Nate?
But before you do, because you set the tone. So in terms of the Marcus Garvey having dinner.
Yeah, because I'm just trying to get a setup of time as well, like people to understand. Because I think what I'm discovering with all of this research that we're doing, my idea of time has been very much obscured by the history that we've been taught. So even my idea of like Jim Crow era, and then, you know, the ending of slavery and Booker T. Washington and all these people that you mentioned, Frederick Douglass, I think I don't like apply to the modernity that they exist in, that they're in modern times. She's growing up in what's juxtaposing Victorian times here in England, right? So when you kind of clock it in that way, you think about what was going on in Africa at the same time. And then much later on, when they do have dinner with Marcus Garvey, it gives you that idea of the timeline as well that they're in, and how late or how crazy it is that you end slavery and then go into Jim Crow. Like have that period of the golden era after the slavery, and then you have
Reconstruction era.
The Reconstruction, and it's like so much is achieved, so much is amazing things in such a short time, and our genius is just so overflowing, the innovation, the inventions, and then they have
the Harlem Renaissance.
all of that amazingness. You then create some evil terrorist group, and they commit the most horrific murders. And Ida B. Wells is part of logging the numbers of people that are actually lynched as well, so we can get a real sense of how big this thing was.
And also,
so let's get like an overview. Because I mean, a part of me wants to go into like her backstory and her childhood and but I realized that we've kind of danced around it. We haven't actually spoken about what Ida B. Wells is best known for. And I'm saying this because of Jeremiah's question. We haven't actually really like spoken on what Ida B. Wells did. So she was a journalist. Stella, you did mention actually, she's an investigative journalist. So what she did was she published works that kind of had the facts and the figures, the numbers of people who had been lynched and the reasons why. So also with some commentary. So she published figures saying, this many people were killed for looking at white women. This many people were killed for not crossing the road when a white man walked in front of them. This many people were killed for, sneezing in public or whatever the reason was, but she took all the reasons, she collated them, and she put them into her books, right? And she published them. And she did so for a couple of reasons. One of them was to expose the fact that some of the accusations, some of the reasons that people had been accused or like had been lynched, the accusations that they fell through under any kind of serious scrutiny, right? So she would say, there was a long time period when you guys were away and there was black men here and your wives were safe and no one troubled your white women and your white women didn't complain about the black men. But now that you guys are back and you're living with us and, you are, in a position where you can hang us on the streets, now the numbers of black men who are sleeping with white women are increasing. How does that make sense? Do you know what I mean? Before it was 0 and now it's 170, 150 a year. This man was flirting with white women, flirting before. There was none of that going on. So she's saying, not saying that it doesn't happen at all. Not saying that any of these people who were killed are there are bad people, who do deserve, who are going out and doing badness. But this highlights the second issue that she was pointing out, right? Is that people are being killed without a trial. There's no trial. It's just mob justice. It's just mob rule, right? So you're seeing that someone's looked at a white woman, right? Whether that's true or not, and then you're just hanging them up on the streets. So this many 170 people, 180 people, 210 people, 390 people. Do you know what I'm saying? This many was killed this year, that many was killed that year. And she faithfully, diligently went and collated all the numbers, went and got all the reasons, did investigation and published the works, right? And it had such an influence that, it has such an influence because I guess what I want to say, like the legal white people, like not the mob, not the mob, that the other class, the working class or whatever, they didn't want to see that they, you know, that they were going to lose opportunities basically because this information was coming out. They were losing opportunities, they were losing funding, they were losing money, you know, and that was a problem for them. So they took action and kind of put lynching to bed, but obviously they didn't, because lynching has continued until today, you know. But they definitely did make like major waves at the time, and that was thanks to Ida B. Wells' work, and that was thanks to her putting that information out.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys want to add anything to that. Sorry, that was kind of just like a little overview, I think, of the main thing that she did.
I just want to add that because in the context of what you said about the sexual nature of, she basically talked on things that were very taboo subjects at the time, when people weren't really supposed to really talk like that. So especially when women. She got so much backlash for all those things that you just mentioned, because she was being very direct, which was not really of the time to be, as a woman, to speak and to write about these things so directly, so explicitly. So she would say, you know, she would reveal that, okay, look, this is what she's finding is that it's consensual sexual acts that are going on between some Black men and white women, and she was revealing that on like a major scale, that how much of it was happening, and then how much the white woman would turn around and call rape. So she was also exposing those kind of taboo messages as well, which is like raw, like what you're saying here, that there's actual relationships going on between Black and white people or whatever, that is all secret. And she's like, yeah, you lot are calling it rape, but it's not actually rape. These women are consensually in relationships with Black men, and you lot are calling it rape. So there was also that element of it that I found really interesting about her character. She's just outspoken. She's like, I'm not gonna hold back on any of these things that are happening just because you guys think it's improper or whatever. I am about truth, righteousness, and justice. So, and also to add, what she found, and what we now know, is that the Black people who were being lynched, a lot of them were achieving. Yeah, there's that, because
achieving.
Achieving great things, you know, like even her good friend that was killed, that really launched her passion
from the People's Grocery.
Yes, that was actually in the Boss documentary that's worth a watch, guys. It's called Boss, BOSS, and it's a documentary that kind of goes through the history of us as entrepreneurs, as Black people as entrepreneurs in America specifically, and they mentioned that whole situation with Ida B. Wells ending up being threatened, her life being threatened, and, you know, having to move out. But her good friend and 2 other men are lynched, and then because she knows him personally, she's like, all this stuff they're saying about the reasons is not true. I know him, like I actually know this brother. So that's what kickstarts her. That's what kickstarted it. Yeah, to find out what going on. Yeah. But like we were moving at a rate that they couldn't even handle or produce. And
did you listen to the audiobooks I sent? Did you guys check them out?
No.
Let me tell you, Mark. Just in line with this point, then, if I just can slide one in, So as part of my research for this, I listened to 2 of Ida B. Wells' audiobooks, A Red Record, which is on YouTube. It's 4 hours long. Listen to it. And Murder in New Orleans, which is also on YouTube. That's that 2 hours long. Listen to it. You can listen to it on double speed. Do you know what I'm saying? And just plug it in your headphones while you're doing your dishes or whatever, right? Murder in New Orleans. Wow. So powerful. And she tells an account of a man called Robert Charles, right? And like how he basically went out, and how they accused him, of, if I remember rightly, of, you know, sleeping with a white woman or whatever, something he didn't do, and he basically went down shooting. You know, he went down, took a couple police officers with him, and and they accused him of being a desperado. That's what it was. They accused him of being a desperado, Robert Charles, yeah, because the policeman pulled up on him. That's what it was. It wasn't looking at a white woman. Sorry, the policeman pulled up on him, and they questioned him, like, what are you doing here? And then obviously, as they do, the police got violent with him and his friend. So, you know, he's ended up shooting back, right? And he's basically fled because he knows once he's attacked them, it's over for him. So he's fled, and he's been in hiding for a while. Eventually, they've caught him and lynched him. Yeah. So Ida B. Wells is now doing the investigative journalism on his story.
Nate, was it the police? Was it the police that lynched him or the mob?
Oh, it was. I believe it was the mob. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's the mob still.
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't remember actually, so I might have to listen to the audiobook a third time and kind of brush up. But you know, I would recommend that it's worth checking out for anyone who's listening anyway. You know, check out the book yourself. It's very good. Anyway, she's basically doing some investigative journalism on this man, and you know, she's looked at the evidence they found in his room, in his house, yeah, where he was staying. You know, his mattress was dirty, you know, but what they found was that this person was in correspondence with Bishop Turner, right? Who was basically one of the main guys in like the Back to Africa movement, you know, and so this guy was taking and circulating a lot of pro-Africa propaganda, you know. He had notebooks, right, full of his own handwriting, where he's talking about how, you know, you need to go back to Africa, there's nothing in this land, you know, they're oppressive. And you know, the newspaper described him as someone who was constantly studying to better himself so that he could overthrow his oppressive white overlord. Yeah. So Ida B. Wells took that and she trimmed it, and she was like, as you can see, this was a man who was studying to improve himself. Do you know what I'm saying? And she proper like made such a good case for this guy. It was such a good listen, I'm telling you. So I would definitely recommend, if you get a chance before Auntie Jean's, check it out. That one is Murder in New Orleans. It's like 2 hours long, and you can listen to it while you do yoga or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Just plug it in and vibe. It's so good. It's so good. I really have enjoyed it. But yeah, that one about Robert Charles and his relationship with Bishop Turner, because Bishop Turner is someone that I would like us to kind of dive into as well. I forget the name of the organization that Robert Charles was working with and Bishop Turner, but they were both part of an organization, and they were like, I think Bishop Turner was sending Robert Charles information, like stuff to distribute. Yeah. So anyway, police has pulled up on Robert Charles and they've just started shooting him. So he's obviously not the guy. So he started shooting back and then he's run. Do you know what I'm saying? And now they're hunting him and he's popping them one by one. But this guy was a marksman. I think he was ex-military or something like that. Do you know what I'm saying? So he's literally taken out, burying them on the way out. Hey, I was like, wow, the way she recounted this story, she's like, you know, very, very good, very worth listening to. Let me that's enough. Yeah,
that
definitely.
Like, but you know,
but it's like you said that they're always going for people who are like on it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Targeted.
And you know, with her as well. Okay, with the shooting thing, there's one of the documentaries I was listening to. What was it? The one who wrote a biography. Can't remember the sister's name now.
Oh yeah, I'll get it.
But basically, she had that, as Stella was saying, like she had that energy where she was just forthright and she didn't care. Her fear was gone, and the way they were describing it is like when her parents died when she was 16 and she had to look after the children and then or look after her siblings. Like look after her siblings, and when the suggestions from, I think it was her parents' friends or something like that, to split the children up and go this way, and she was like, no, I'm looking after them. And she had a gun, and she was like, if they come after me, then they're gonna have to go, we're both going, innit? And that's the mentality.
Yeah, exactly.
And even the story you just gave just now, it just reminded me as well of No Queen Mother More. when
No.
she was talking about. Okay, I have to show you something. But yeah, Queen Mother More, another powerful sister of the time. But yeah, she was a Garveyite, and she was talking about when Garvey came to her area, like the police stopped him. They stopped him from speaking, and then he put it out, said, "Oh, you know, I'm sorry, I was meant to talk to you lot, but the police have stopped me." They made sure that he came to speak anyway, and Queen Mother More, along with all of them, had guns, and they're like, if the police mess around with Garvey, then it's on. And the police turned up, and basically, I think the police they tried to do something, and they just click, and then the police just left because the congregation were just ready to let off.
Yeah. And
I feel these stories are very, very, very important to know, because when we're watching the films or we're hearing about it, whenever, you know, the small sliver of information we might get, Black History Month or whatnot, of these type of times, it's just us getting brutalized with no agency. But when you have like these stories that come out, then you know, okay, there is an incentive. There's actually an incentive for the system to change things up a little bit, to pacify us, because of the threat that comes back from us. It's very important that we know that like our ancestors was moving in a certain kind of way. Also, it brings us closer in terms of time. It brings us closer to today. So there's we're going to go into it further, but Ida B. Wells is another one who was, first of all, very well known. She was a celebrity of her time. They're saying that Booker T, Washington, W. Du Bois, Ida B. Wells. It's like she's that big. In fact, she was so big that when she got married, she was put on the I think it was the New York Post Times or something like that. One of those major newspapers.
Oh, yeah.
They put her the fact that she got married, they put her on there. And then she's another one. I think, New York Times.
The same New York Times that was cussing her like the week before she got married, because they're like, she keeps talking all this stuff and blah blah blah. They then announced their marriage in the New York Times as well. Yeah. So funny.
But that shows how big she was. And then when she came to England, massive. And when she came to England and she did a tour in England, Wales, Scotland, thousands of people was turning up. Like she was a G in that sense.
She was right and saying if we're being disrespected, then we should pack up our stuff and leave. And people would pack up their stuff and leave. Do you know what I'm saying? Like having a significant impact on the local economy. So, you know, she definitely was wielding big influence.
Yeah. So should we go into her timeline, her story a little bit?
Go through.
Okay.
Right, yeah.
Let me find what I have.
So maybe I'll start and you catch up.
Yeah.
So born into slavery, or born into a period of enslavement.
1862.
1862.
62 is what I got.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
16th of
when is
July? 16th of July, 1862.
When did slavery end?
6 months after she's born, or something, apparently.
So 1862 is when slavery ended. Or 1863.
1863.
Yeah, so a year later.
And
then
the Emancipation Proclamation freed enslaved people in southern states in 1863.
Got it. Okay, nice one.
So she was born in July. The January is when Emancipation Proclamation occurs. So she's 6 months. 6 months born into it, but after 6 months, she's now free. Her parents are free. Everyone is excited. Go on.
Yeah, so her father opened a carpenter's shop and became active in local politics. So at this time that she's alive, the KKK are in existence. So I know she talks about understanding the danger that her dad was in, going to these political meetings. And you know, you get a sense that she learned a lot of her kind of rooting for justice from her dad. And I was saying to Nat, Harriet Tubman, Ida B. Wells, and Winnie Mandela all had this connection with their fathers. Like they learned quite a lot of things that was gonna like help and develop their futures from their fathers, and I just found that really interesting. Okay, so we know that they both died. Both her parents died in 1878.
Yellow fever.
The yellow fever happens.
Oh,
so
before that, the dad helped to establish Shaw University.
Wow.
So the dad helped James helped to establish Shaw University, which is or like has become one of like the founding HBCUs, which is a big deal in America.
Okay.
You know, so that's
the black colleges.
Yeah, that was what the dad was working on. That was one of the things that James was working on, you know, was getting a school. Look at that.
The key thing. So, but they both died, unfortunately, when she's 16 from yellow fever, which I'm like looking at sideways now as well, like these diseases that just come out of nowhere and start wiping out whole groups of people. But like, yeah, she then takes over the family, and as in looking after her siblings, and becomes a school teacher. That's her first job that she gets. And in one of the documentaries I was watching about her, she's like, so everyone's seen the picture of Ida B. Wells, like the pictures, and she's always looking very like, you know, presentable, like nice and neat and all of this stuff. So apparently she was really into like representing us as, you know, as where we're supposed to be. So she was very into that, and she would spend a lot of her paycheck would go on the siblings, but she would spend a lot on making herself look and feel, you know, looking fine. Yeah. And what else we got here? So yeah, I think she first got famous. Is this true? Like, I don't know if you've got this as well, but she got kicked off a train, or kicked out of one of the she was in the women's carriage of a train. She bought her ticket, and they manhandled her. The train driver and two other ghastly guys, they come and they rough her up, say she's got to move from this carriage, and she's like, no, like I've got my ticket, I bought my ticket, what are you talking about? And then they proceed to manhandle her and get her off the train, and then the women all cheering, all the white women are like, yay, you know, because she's kicked off. And like she is in, and obviously she's like for the law and all of that, so she takes it to court. I think she wins.
I think I saw an interview of her grandson saying that she bit someone, she bit one of the conductors or something, they were trying to drag her. Yeah, you saw that as well,
yeah, she bites him on the hand or something, like she bit hard on the man's hand, because it's like, why are you touching me, kind of thing. So
energy.
Three of them had to. She's small, you know. She's like petite. So, but three big men had to grab her to take her off. So yeah, she's got power, and yeah, she wins in the smaller courts, but then they take it to a second
$500, right?
Yes, $500. She won the suit. $500. Be good to work out what that is today. And then a second trial before the Tennessee Supreme Court, they reversed the decision, and this really makes her disillusioned about the whole kind of ideas about America being a free, you know, all of this law and justice.
Yeah,
she's like, it's not really real, because obviously
Right.
she's
so early.
Right, excuse me. And then carry on from there. I'm sorry, apologies if I'm missing out a whole bunch of stuff.
Well, actually, no, because what you was asking me if it's true, it is true. That as a result of that, she became famous.
Yes.
So as a result of the small court's victory, she became famous. That's what that made her known. So she was, I guess, the Rosa Parks of that time. So before Rosa Parks, that train incident just made her known nationally.
Yeah, because obviously the black people are like respecting that she's going to court, and stuff like that.
That she won.
And that she won the first one. Okay, so under that, under the name Iola. So did you find anything out about the Iola choice? Did she speak about that in her? No. Because Iola, I think is a Yoruba name, but I'm going to look into that closely.
Okay, really?
I think so. But yeah, she under the pen name Iola, she is hailed as the Princess of the Press. She works as a teacher and joins a lyceum, a club for intellectual and literary discussion founded by black teachers. The club meetings ended with readings from a newspaper called The Evening Star. And when the editor of the paper moved away, Ida took over his duties. She was then invited to write articles for local religious newspaper, Living Way. And she brings her drama and trouble again, because she's like, she starts like gunning for the people that actually work there as well. She's just not having all of the like the way they're treating their people. Like, she's just writing about it in the actual newspaper for the church, which is just hilarious to me. So despite having no training in journalism at that time, readers enjoyed her clear, straightforward writing style. An article she wrote describing her lawsuit against the railroad soon helped her gain greater fame. And newspapers around the country reprinted her article, and soon they wanted more. Before, she was contributing to 10 newspapers around the USA. She was even elected secretary of the National Press Association in 1889. Through few female reporters had much influence in the 19th century, Ida, or Iola, the name she wrote under, was called the Princess of the Press. That's huge. That is, okay, so then it goes on to talk about when she got into the lynching sort of investigation. So,
and this is 1892.
So
we are 1882.
It hasn't got a date, but it does say when a mob lynched a friend of hers, she found new purpose as a journalist. And for Ida B. Wells' anti-lynching work was personal. A personal friend of hers, Thomas Moss, was a black man who owned his successful grocery store. His main competitor in business was a white man who felt jealous of his success. The business rival made false accusations against Moss, leading to his and his business partner's arrest. Yeah. And soon,
I got 92 for that store.
Yeah, it's 92.
92.
Yeah.
92. And soon, a racist mob. So soon, a racist mob stormed the jail, took Moss and his business partners out of town, and executed them without a fair trial. During the 19th century, even many well-meaning people believed that lynching was a form of justice. This isn't me saying this, because I don't agree. I don't agree with that. I think everyone knows they're not well-meaning. Anyway, but yeah, but Ida knew from her own experience and from extensive research into 720 lynching cases that it was an excuse to terrorize and harm members of the Black community, and in a way to keep them from receiving fair trials. And I would add, it's another way of keeping us back from the development, the vast and fast development that we were having at that time. So they were a culling mission, you know, even knowing that there's a link to like the people that are still being dragged out of Africa, who were doctors, who were high ups, who were, you know, of status, being put into slavery. And then the targeting that was going on with the people that were being lynched as well. You know, you just mentioned Bishop and who's the other brother? The ones you just mentioned, Nate?
One I just mentioned.
Yeah, Bishop Turner and Robert Charles.
Turner. Oh, and Robert Charles. Okay, yeah, Robert Charles. Yeah, sorry.
Those guys, these are the types of people that were being targeted, you know, and that is all to disrupt our development, our growth, you know, all the things that were positively happening for us. And she's pointing all of that out. So when they say during the 19th century, trying to date it and then be like, even many well-meaning people believed that lynching was a form of justice. I'm like, whatever. They know exactly what they're getting up to and why they're doing it. They're just baying for our blood. It's not, there's no, oh, because we want the justice because they looked at our woman wrong. It's actually just a thirst and demonic behavior. They just actually want to do it. So,
but they used women to kind of appeal to a certain nature of man, you know, because like if you say that a man has robbed your shop, yeah, then that's one thing. You know, there can still be a bit of a division of opinion as to whether or not that man deserves the death sentence, right? But for these racists, the racism was so deeply entrenched in them. As soon as you mention women, it brings up like a primal something in them. Do you know what I'm saying? That they felt they could smile or they burn you. Do you know what I'm saying? They could smile while you're rotting and you're hanging. Do you know what I'm saying? Because for them, just thinking that they're defending the women in their community was enough to kind of reinforce the behavior. I think that was a point that Ida touched on as well in one of her books. The other one was written in 95. The first one was written in 95. That one's called A Red Record. That one's written in 95. So if her friend Tom was in 92, The People's Grocery, then she did all of that investigative work. I don't know if she wrote anything in between then and then, but A Red Record, which as I understand it is kind of one of her biggest, was written in 95. So that's what I've written down anyway. Let me double check.
Okay.
No.
Yeah. No, that sounds right. But yeah, no, so deep. I don't want to argue with Ida B. Wells. She was there. I wasn't there, but like, I just feel like
yeah. So I think she was saying that it's like an excuse, basically. It's obviously nonsense. Yeah, we know it's nonsense. We know that they didn't sleep with them. We know that they didn't, or even when they did, like you said, even when they did, it was more time consensual. Do you know what I'm saying, right? But just that there was the trigger. That was the trigger for them, and it was enough of a trigger for them to. That was like the leading cause, right? Was miscegenation. That was like the leading cause, you know, of lynchings, interracial relationships. This one was looking at that one. This one was touching that one. This one, that one. You know, they're gonna say that they were raped when it was consensual, or they're gonna say they were raped when the man never even touched you. Do you know what I'm saying? You had your clothes on the whole day, and he's gonna scream rape, and bang, that's it. He's hanging. You know, so just that weaponization of, say, you know, of femininity, I think is definitely something that should be studied. I think it's something that's even carried down to our generation.
100%. Sorry, you're 100% right, because when people go like, and I know this is going to be controversial because some people will think, you know, I'm saying this and be like, I'm defending bad behavior, but I'm actually not. I'm just talking about the modern day lynching that goes on, that the violent lynching that is truly disgusting and evil still happens. Like Nat just mentioned, a black man was found in America recently, and but lynching through sort of reputation as well, reputationally, like when someone is accused of sexual misconduct, but then trial by the public, and I'm talking mainly about black men, because
that's exactly what I'm saying as well.
Yeah, it's like a whole different nature of how it's dealt with. And it is, you can kind of look at it in a similar way, like when these black men are starting to formulate ideas of thinking they can now gain a bit of power and start changing and shifting the way the black narrative goes, you'll start seeing this other side, this kind of attack on them.
The presumptions that are based onto you, that are projected onto you, you know.
Yeah, and it's like basically, oh, these men, they raped all these, they've done all this raping of white women. Like, okay, let's talk about Bill Cosby. I'll bring up Bill, right? And I think he was one of the first ones in our time that it was like this, like how it was. Yeah, and I'm not talking about the fact whether he did it or not. It's just the way they were executing it. Some women were coming forward, and it was literally nothing to do with what he had actually, with what had happened, and there was evidence of them not being in the same place in the same year, whatever, but because it was just kind of like, we are going to annihilate this brother for daring to think he's going to go and buy ABC, this massive, you know, NBC, this massive conglomerate media house. Like, they do, the lynching method is carried on since the time of enslavement till today. It's like a protocol.
Because most people are not investigative journalists. Most people are not going to do their research. Most people are not going to double check. They're just going to get a general picture of like 20 women spoke to Bill Cosby. So some of them have got to be right. That's enough. Right. That's all they want to hear. Do you know what I'm saying? From they've heard that, guilty. And whatever happens to him, they're desensitized to it.
Exactly. Send the old man to jail. Like, like, and it's like, rah.
That's
like, it. Is there like some part of this that might not actually be true, like, you know?
And due process.
That
for me, that's the number one thing, like due process. But what you said, Nate, in terms of weaponizing, and that word is key, because it's the energy, and mob justice runs off the energy of them being righteous. It doesn't matter how wicked and evil what their act may do, but the fact that they feel like they're being righteous, they're fighting a righteous cause, justifies what level of savagery. Like, they can't just be like, he's more successful than us, we're going to kill him on that basis. That is not going to give the energy for the mob. The mob needs to but, and yeah, we all know, really, we know that they're lying, we know that, but even for them, they need the lie, because there's no way, they just couldn't galvanize that energy of murder for jealousy by being open about the fact that they're jealous. This business is doing better than my business, therefore I want to kill him. They can't do it like that. They need the lie to be able to fuel that rage, that furnace, just where they're unrelenting at what they can do, and for other people to be desensitized. For real, that's another aspect of it. Like, the people who are not prepared to do lynching or whatnot, but if they hear that this man who got lynched raped, and they weren't going deep enough, then they'll be like, well, I'm not going to risk my life, I'm not going to put my neck out for somebody who did that, no matter what they're going through. Like, they if there's a possibility that they might have done it, then they deserve whatever they're going to get. Again, if they have the straight up information that is like, yo, this person was just doing better, and the only reason why he killed them was because they're black, then those people who are in the middle might have to, this is really wrong, I can't have this in my society, and all that kind of stuff. So the justifications. So all that to say that IDB Wells's work was very important, even at that time, in providing the evidence to show that this is all lies. This is straight up lies, and here's the evidence for it.
It was such a good counterattack. It was the perfect counterattack because it created like an emotional shift. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like people went from feeling like they were doing the right thing to feeling like they were doing the wrong thing. You know, that is literally what her pen did. Her pen did that. They went from feeling like they were doing the right thing and they were justified and thinking, oh, 20 women have come forward, so you know there must be something going on. And now they're thinking, well, hold on, hundreds of black men are being killed for the same reason. There must be something going on. Do you know what I'm saying? And it's just like it just shifted their perspective away from presuming the guilt of the person, you know, on mass. Do you know what I mean? Away from presuming the guilt of the person to thinking, well, at least make sure they go through due process. That's it. At least make sure that, you know, we are a nation who honors the law. Like, because right now we're looking like a nation of barbarians to the outside world. You know, even we're looking like we're a nation who is unruly and we're just, you know, mob justice is ruling the streets. This is what's being published. This is being distributed. Like, and people are seeing it. They had like a World Fair, right? And Ida B. Wells went there on a conference and she was handing them out of the World Fair. That's embarrassing. You know what I'm saying? That's embarrassing. So they were thinking, do you know what? We're getting looked at a certain type of way. This is the media, and this was her counterattack. This was her strategy. She said, shine light on the truth, you know, and that's the best way to right the wrongs. Just publish the numbers. Just share the numbers. That's it. She was like, listen, I'm going to do the work. I'm going to collate the numbers. These are the facts. These are the figures. All you got to do is share them. Yeah. Anyone who reads this is going to have that shift in their mind and heart. Anyone who doesn't is part of the problem. Do you know what I mean? But obviously the majority of people who read it are going to have that shift. And they did. It was so well written, so engaging, so like factual. Do you know what I mean? It was just so clean cut. It was actually, you know, the emotional shift that people would have gone through as a result of it. I think it was a perfect counterattack. It was a really good strategy. And a reminder of how mighty the pen can be.
The mighty mightier than the sword, right? And during the 19th century, even many well-meaning people believed that lynching was a form of justice, but Ida knew from her own experience and from extensive research into 720 lynching cases that it was an excuse to terrorize and harm members of the Black community and a way to keep them from receiving fair trials. She risked her life to advocate against lynching. She risked her life. She published an editorial for a paper called Free Speech and Headlight about the real motivations behind lynching. It enraged the local white business owners, and a mob destroyed her newspaper office while she was out of town in New York. Rather than return to Memphis, she stayed in New York, continuing her career as a journalist there. For much of her life, Ida B. Wells campaigned for a federal law against lynching in writing and speaking engagements. She pressured 4 US presidents from McKinley to Harding to do something about it. Although her efforts didn't pay off in her lifetime, a federal law finally passed in 2022.
Hey, now do you know what's mad about that? Is 2022 is when the article you sent that about the brother that got lynched, that was in 2022 as well. Yeah, that was in 2022. So what did the law do? Did they catch him or what? Black man was lynched in 2022. So what was that? You signed a law, like an anti-lynching bill, and someone was lynched in the same year.
Well, I wonder if it was before. Which one came first?
Well, I mean, this is the thing. It's something that they've taken to the US presidency for over 200 attempts before they actually passed that. They went 200 times. They went to that White House and were like, please, can we have the anti-lynching law? 200 Shameful. Times. In 2022, they finally do it. And Ida B. Wells's great granddaughter is one of the people that was campaigning, or she receives it on her behalf. But that is also, do you remember Emmett Till, the story of Emmett Till?
Emmett Till's cousin, I believe. or a family relative was also there. So along with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, when Joe Biden signed the anti-lynching bill, IDB Wells's great granddaughter and Emmett Till's cousin I believe, were present at that signing.
Yeah, and you know, it's kind of like, I mean, it's mind blowing even to think that what you've just said, that in that same year, before or after, there were 2 lynchings, and these are the things that we're hearing about. So someone did ask her in her interview, the great granddaughter, you know, what does this mean in terms of having this law in place? Like, how will it change things? But I guess it just really does, at least it can't be denied racism, because, you know, they still do gaslighting with, well, you know, this was just, you know, they still be doing that. Like George Floyd, oh, he was a porn star, and he was the, like, you know, like they'd be talking like that about these people that are killed that are lynched, essentially. They'll be putting these excuses and reasonings behind it. The press will be doing that. So the press are part of the lynch mob, and kind of bastardizing someone and kind of making it like the other one, the famous one, Trayvon Martin, with oh, he had his hoodie on, if he hadn't had his hoodie on, and all of this stuff, you know. So
with Trayvon Martin, I was wondering, because it was a civilian, it wasn't actually the police. Zimmerman was a civilian. I was wondering, did he get off
based on the fact that there's no anti-lynching law?
Yeah.
I mean, what that's what I'm trying to say. I don't know. It's a really good point. Does it actually change anything? Technically, it should, because a lynch, what is classed as a lynch?
Realistically, it won't. Realistically, it won't. You know, like, this is Kimbunga media. You get me? So we don't have to sugarcoat. Yeah, like, let's not act like we don't all go onto Instagram and see the comment section talking about usual suspects, or we don't all see people marching through the streets talking about they're stealing our jobs. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, we are very much still in a time where prejudice is alive and healthy. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, I think because of the nature of it, because it's invasive. It's like, it's in everything. It's in the hospitals. It's in the police force. It's in the schools. Yeah, like, I think because of that, it's gonna take generations to untangle itself. I don't think it's gonna be something that is gonna happen quick. I think it's gonna be something that is gonna take in this city, for example, generations, I would expect. So I thought that for us, really, this is why I'm here with Marcus Garvey talk. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, this is why I'm here. For us, really, we've got to be doing for self. We've got to be loving each other. We've got to be building each other up. We've got to be supporting each other. Because these men don't like us today, in real time. Do you know what I'm saying? In real time, yeah. Like, it's one thing to kind of I don't know, because we're in, one of my friends mentioned a host nation. Yeah, that's how she describes it. We're in a host nation, you know. So it's like, when you're in a situation like that, obviously you're in someone's house and you maybe have overstayed the welcome that they would have wanted to give you. You know, they can still be smiling at you. They can still be smiling, you know, but the truth we can see. Yeah, we see it when the young people are marching through the streets. We see it when they get their Xbox headphones on and start, you know, popping off. We see it. Yeah, we see it. We see it everywhere. We see it everywhere. We see it when the police come and trouble us for nothing. Do you know what I'm saying? I got stopped by police, last week, riding my bike. You know what I'm saying? Riding my bike, yeah. Man just couldn't think of a reason to stop me. You know the ones.
Wow.
Couldn't think of a reason to stop me, honestly. Like, but yeah, this is what I'm saying. We know. So I don't think that them signing this anti-lynching law will change anything on a social level. You know, maybe it will change something on a what's it level, on a what's the word I'm even looking for? On a not political. I guess is it political? On a political level, on a structural kind of level. Legal. I feel like people are still going to be racist. People are still going to lose their life. Yeah, because the thing with the law and the police is it always often kind of deals with after the fact. You know, like the police come after someone's been attacked. they don't come before someone's been attacked. The police don't stop people from getting attacked. The police don't even, you know, unless they're present, they're not gonna. That's it. They're gonna come after you've been robbed. Yeah. So I feel like it's not gonna change anything because people are still very racist, and you know, there are certain parts of the world. Yeah, there are certain parts of the world where that energy can fester. Like bros in the chat, I think he said in VA, like they're still on it up there. There's plenty of parts of the world where that energy can fester. Yeah, there's other parts. There's parts where that energy is not going to be as potent. You know, it can't survive. Yeah, but there's places in the world where it is alive and well. And I think for us to pretend, or not even pretend, just to delude ourselves. Do you know what I'm saying? That because they've signed this thing now, everything's going to be better. Do you know what I mean? Like it's impossible. I think maybe on like it might spark something. I don't want to feel like Auntie Ida did all of that work for nothing. Do you know what I'm saying? Like this was her plan. So now that it's happened, I'd be open to seeing what comes of it, and I hope something comes of it. But I'm not optimistic. I can't lie, because I've never trusted the police or the law to deal with any problems. As far as I'm seeing in our lifetime, in our generation, they're not going to help us. They're not here for us still. We've got to do more push-ups first. You know what?
I mean, the evidence is just there, isn't it? It's there. Like, Ida B. Wells died in 1931, right?
Yeah.
Is that accurate?
Well,
yeah.
31's
so that's what? 31. That's 89 years.
Before the
right.
No, 31. Yeah, 92 years, I think. 90 odd years, let's call it that. 90 odd years. After she's dead. So did she...
Emmett Till happens in 1968.
No, 1968.
1950.
1950.
Yeah.
Yeah. Emmett Till happens after she's gone. So, and in fact, Emmett Till, that's 19 years after she's dead. So she's or ascended. Her work, her lifetime's work, or the work that she's most well known for in the late 1800s, it takes 120 something years before they sign a bit. Like the evidence is there.
I know.
It's just showing that this is that. No, I would go as far to say that if we have any faith in the system to make a difference, it's a folly one, because it's what's shown. Like our study of history with these revolutionary minds, my own personal study into it, and just observing the cycles and the amount of cycles that has happened in our lifetime, what we've witnessed. Like it was only 4 years ago where George Floyd happened and the whole world said, all right, this is a change now. We're going to change things for Black people. And in that space of time, things have reversed so far back. It's even before that point there. It was before the George Floyd point. It's back to what people can recognize in the 80s when there was racist attacks and racist mobs. And it's global as well. It's here in the UK, it's in the US, it's in Australia, it's in South Africa. We know if we look into Brazil, we see it's going mad, like as a standard. So we know this rise of the racist right, or this like visceral in your face type form of racism has happened within a 4-year period after us being promised that this was it. This was going to be a marker of global change of the way African people are being treated. That's what that was meant to be. So in a very short space of time, we've seen, okay, so for me, it would be foolish for me to think that this would ever change in any generation. In our grandchildren's generation, it will remain the same, because the system has a -% interest in making it was built off our oppression, and it exists today off our oppression. So they have no interest in doing it. The only answer is Pan-Africanism, is do for self. That has always been the answer for us. So I wouldn't say that Ida B. Wells fought for nothing. She fought for us, but the answer isn't them. because they haven't got it in them. They haven't got that heart. You know what I'm saying? They ain't got that conscience. And also, I was saying to Stella earlier, like, so imagine the KKK, as bad as they were, a Marcus Garvey or even a Martin Luther King can look back and be like, rah, the liberals are worse. Those are the ones that smile at us. Those are the ones who will want to take generations upon generations upon generations to actually make tangible change. Because behind closed doors, they're wearing the cloak anyway. They're wearing the robes. But in order to be civilized, they can't be associated with that. But when it comes to justice for us, you see there's a distinct difference between us and, let's say, the Asians. Remember around the same time after the George Floyd incident, and then they kind of poured water on it a little bit initially because of the Asian hate, and they were showing images of black people beating up Asians, and the Asians got reparations like that. It was like I don't think it was a month. I think it was a few weeks, and it was reparation. Here's your money. Here. We're still talking about it today.
China is so strong. Like, that's the difference. Yeah. Like, Africa is not in a position where, you know, like what Ibrahim Toure is doing is like demonstrative of where we should be at and what we could potentially do when we do think that way. But African countries don't speak out against these things as they should. I think maybe the president that they killed did speak out.
What, Magufuli?
Yeah, didn't Magufuli speak out against what happened to George Floyd? I feel like he might have been the only voice that publicly spoke, but they don't. There's no like China is going to be like, all they need to do is just flex one muscle and then that's it. Like America's in like trillions of debt. But anyway, digress. Let's get back to Ida B. Wells. Okay. So she lost her job as a teacher due to speaking out against segregation. This is, you know, with the segregation thing now, like, again, I'm not I'm pro segregation. Sorry, I'm not for the integration, because the integration is what's messed us up. But that's a different point. Okay, while she was gaining fame as a reporter, Ida was still working as a full-time teacher. The Reverend Taylor Nightingale, owner of a black newspaper in Memphis called Free Speech and the Headline, asked her to become a staff writer for him. She agreed, but only if he made her co-owner. He accepted. Though the paper had a good size following, it didn't sell enough copies to make Ida a full-time living. Unfortunately, an article she wrote against segregation got back to the Memphis Public School Board, and they refused to renew her teaching contract. But that didn't deter Ida. She traveled around neighboring southern states to find new subscribers and advertisers for the newspaper.
Can we just talk about that real quick?
Yeah.
I'm glad you held it up. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, because like I think it's worth taking pause just to acknowledge the spirit of this woman. Yeah. So she started the paper and she said, I'm only gonna join if we're splitting it down the middle. I'm cool with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, dope. But even so, it's not making her enough money to make a living. Even so, she still speaks out against her job, her actual job that is giving her the money to make a living. Yeah, knowing that if she says what she's about to say, she's plunging off a cliff, and and she's gonna have to figure it out on the way. Yeah, but she says it regardless because it's the truth. Do you know what I'm saying? She's like, boom, this is the situation that we're in. And that is consistent with her personality. I'm loving that, honestly. I think that's like a good foreshadowing of the person that she grew to become,
Definitely.
I guess the person she was. Yeah, the integrity.
Yeah.
That's right.
At 1,000. And also the spirit, the spirit and the energy and resolve to be like, all right, cool. Do you know what? Bonfire this job that is going to try and imprison my mind. I'm going to talk out anyway. But then, like, going out there and seeking subscribers. Like,
yeah.
This made me think about us, you know, like we seek subscribers, but we don't do it in that hard way. Like she's doing it, it's making me feel a little bit shame still. Like, all right, this is the opportunity. Like and subscribe, people. Like and subscribe to the channel. Kimbunga Media. Like and subscribe.
For real.
And
it does,
so,
don't it? It shows her spirit. You know who's like that today? Do you know Sway, the rapper from London, Sway?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know how Sway boss, innit? He was just selling his CDs out in Oxford Circus. He was just out working, selling, putting in the energy. Do you know what I'm saying? Like that is something that I've always respected about him. And he's mad talented as well. Do you know what I'm saying? So knowing that that's how he came up, he wasn't shotting, he wasn't moving mad, he was just selling copies of his CD. Do you know what I'm saying? And he got bare friends to help, and he was putting in work, and he was getting big off it as well. He got very big, you know? Like that, I think, is kind of what I'm seeing here with her going out and grafting for subscribers. Do you know what I mean? And getting people to sign up and get copies of the paper. You know, to get get subscribed, so you get a copy of the paper posted to you. It's a good little hustle, man. It's a good not it's a good hustle. It's a good energy to have. Do you know what I'm saying? In terms of like being self-employed, and
she's so highly motivated. It's
highly motivated. There you go.
And I feel like it's a good example to follow. But like she wrote, in 9 months I had an income nearly as large as I had received teaching, and felt sure that I had found my vocation.
Okay, right. I know we're pausing, but still, this is what I truly believe. When you put your all into your gift, the universe will open up and you get blessed. And this is just a testament to her resolve, that she didn't just make a decision that was one that was pure detrimental. In fact, now she's actually able to do her purpose because of her integrity. Her integrity drove her out of the job, and she was able, after that, to do what is necessary to get the subscribers. That ended up paying her better than before anyway.
Yeah.
But it was all led from her integrity to her purpose.
Yeah.
Stella, have we gone back in time? Just
yeah, we have.
I can't see what you're showing me, but maybe someone else can, but I can't see it. I can only see you in a teeny little corner of my phone screen.
I was just trying to see if it would go bigger, but it's not. It's just a picture of her with her family, but I've not really seen a picture like this before, but it's just her kind of older with her whole family. Yeah. So Ida and her husband, an unlikely match. For much of her early life, Ida didn't picture herself as a wife or a mother. Her fierce independence and outspoken personality often intimidated men. When she did marry, it was made the front page of the New York Times. You guys mentioned that earlier. Her husband, Ferdinand Lee Barnett, seemed an unusual match for her at first. He was a widower with 2 children. He was 10 years her senior and had once said that his ideal second wife would be someone who can help me in my career. A successful Black attorney and owner of his own newspaper, Ferdinand was certainly career-focused, but he also became a staunch supporter of Ida's career and shared her ardent beliefs. She purchased his newspaper. Wow.
She had money.
The conservator from him, and became its publisher, editor, and business manager. Come on, girl.
Wow.
Ida, one of the earliest American women to hyphenate her last name with her husband's, and the family settled in Chicago and had 4 children. Ida and Ferdinand remained married for 36 years. Until Ida's death.
Yeah.
Wow. And she refused to march in a segregated parade for women's suffrage. So that's another part of her. A big part of what she advocated for was women's rights, right? And she was passionate about women's right to vote and founded the Alpha Suffrage Club, the first Black women's suffrage group. Along with huge numbers of women from around the country, Ida came to Washington, D.C. on March 3rd, 1913, to take part in a parade for the cause of women's suffrage. But Southern white suffragists only cared about the rights of certain women. They threatened to pull out of the event when they learned that Black women would participate as well. Organizers of the event asked African-American activists to march in a separate group at the back of the parade, but Ida refused, saying, "I shall not march at all unless I can march under the Illinois banner." In the end, she waited in the crowds lining streets instead of joining the parade. Then, when the parade passed by, she slipped from the crowd and joined in, marching at the front. So she also helped found the NAACP. They did not give Ida credit for her work. In 1909, an interracial group of people joined forces to try and establish a civil rights organization. The group would later become the NAACP, and Ida attended the founding meeting, but was excluded from the committee and its leadership team. She cut ties with the organization and continued to work for justice outside the NAACP. They often fought for similar causes and did similar work, but the NAACP never recognized her for her efforts. She soon found her influence diminished in the causes she'd worked towards for her whole life. It would be many years after her death before she returned to notoriety. Okay, and the last point, it says,
and with this, yeah,
Wow.
I'm seeing a common thread. I'm seeing a common thread because earlier I was saying that like she was, how massive she was, how well known she was, and there's a common thread in terms of what is done to reduce somebody's stature. Like even Marcus Garvey, there's people out here, Black people today, not like, you know, Marcus Garvey, they don't know him, and like literally I've not heard of him, like not seen, like it's, and when I'm like, whoa. And it's similar with Paul Robeson. When we was looking into Paul Robeson, Paul Robeson was massive, like huge. You come to England, have like Orwells, and there'll be like queues just to lean up to hear this man sing. But today it's like you say Paul Robeson, to most people it's like, who's that? And so this is a pattern of or a thing that they do, like with people's legacies. Like Ida B. Wells of her time, from my understanding, was huge.
She was massive.
And this is the thing, when you've got an organization like the NAACP, who have got this sort of, their institution,
right? Not
the biggest institution, but they're a big institution for African Americans. And when they erase somebody, they have the power to erase them or to reduce them in the minds of the generations coming up. Because when it comes to the curriculum, or when it comes to any sort of program that is national or even international reach, the NAACP have got. So information that might reach us is going to come from them, really and truly. Other sources as well, but it's going to come from them. So when they have the power to be like, okay, this happened, this didn't happen, that happened, we're taking their words for gospel, essentially. Or any documentary you might watch, it'll be sources, NAACP, you know, like, or the NAACP awards, all of these different things that they have got going. They have the ability to include or remove somebody from the story. And that they did that with Ida B. Wells. It's like, all right, they've got bare strikes for me anyway. They've got bare strikes all over the place. This is another strike.
Rachel?
This is a strike. From what I'm hearing, they what was the word? Not expelled. They kind of like, they didn't rate her mainly because she was a woman. From what I'm hearing, that was the that's what I'm hearing still. That it was a sexism thing, a sexism of the era type of vibe, you know. But that's disappointing if that's the case, you know, because Like, look that she was doing the same work you even said, and you know she was doing like they were working on a lot of the same projects, and they just weren't recognizing her.
Yeah. Okay, let me read the last section. Okay, so her great-granddaughter became the leading voice to see Ida recognized. I know that also her actual daughter fought a lot for her information to be out as well, because I watched the interview with the great-granddaughter talking about that. So really pushed to bring her back to the forefront, because they really understood the gravitas of what she did. And just to make a side note for everyone watching, it's so important, as Io Wallace said at the panel, it's like we've got to record our own history as well, like interview our family members if we can, you know, and get to the crux of like who we are and record these things as well, because no one else can tell the story, our story, but us. Really, we have to take it that seriously. So important that her great-granddaughter, Michelle Duster, she's also a writer herself, made it her mission to share her amazing ancestors' story. And she authored the books about Ida, including Ida B. the Queen. That's a book to check out by her great-granddaughter, which gives interviews about her and helped campaign to name Chicago landmarks and streets after her. So thanks to her efforts, Mattel even launched a Barbie doll. I saw the Barbie doll. I was like, they could have made it look
I
like
saw
her.
the Barbie doll as well.
I mean, it's good, but they could have made it perfect.
It surprised me. It's the most random thing. I was like, is that Ida B. Wells' Barbie doll? Like, what?
Yeah,
that was the most random thing. That was the last thing I expected to see, like, while studying her, honestly.
You know what? They've actually made a doll of there's a black scientist as well. I will remember her name, and she's British, and they made the Barbie doll of her as well. And that, you know, is what it is. But like, it's good. It's good that these people are recognized, for young children to be like, you know, intrigued by the story.
For sure. That just does go to speak about her influence, though, you know, because like how you know what you were saying earlier about how you can ask people about Marcus Garvey and some of them won't know, you know, the fact that Ida B. Wells was so influential that she has a Barbie doll. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, really speaks to how powerful, like how literally that the effect that she had, the impact that she had on the world, definitely America, you know. But yeah, man, I think that's like a shout out to her.
Big shout out. And like even in the UK, that whole tour that she did here, it'd be interesting to look more and see like where she had such an impact here in the British Isles, as they called it, and doing a lot in London and outside of London as well. You know, that passage, when we think of history or that time period, we don't really think of people traveling that much. But as Booker T has proved, there's all these people that were advocating against the enslavement of human beings and against the Jim Crow era and all of that. They were traveling. There were a lot of like speeches in places like here, and it's just interesting.
Well, yeah, and also the fact that she set up her anti-lynching organization in London. I think it was a London anti-lynching organization. I think it was a London something.
Yeah.
And it was on the basis of the fact that she had said earlier, but she had popular support in this country. And the dynamic between this country and America is that this country does see itself as more civilized, more intelligent, more progressive. Like British people will say, like, if you go amongst white people, like the amount of times they'll call Americans stupid, for example, like that's a real British thing. Like and so at that time, even more
really
so.
Glad you said that, actually.
Say again.
So I said, I'm really glad you said that, because I've noticed it as a theme as well. It was Britain who protested for the Congolese, for Leopold. You know, it was British protests that really kind of put it to them. And I also came across it again while I was studying for Ida B. Wells, that it was British protest, you know, that the Americans were afraid of losing British investments, or they were afraid of losing, you know, certain like face in the eyes of the British, because the British were hearing about what was going on in America, and you know, Ida was kind of portraying them as barbarians, you know what I mean? And they were like, no, we're civilized. Do you know what I mean? And it's like the British who were the judging eyes of the world, you know, and that was a theme that I've noticed like around a couple of our revolutionary minds, for real. Even though they're the dirtiest colonizers of the lot, they're definitely there, like watching everyone else and kind of, you know what I mean? Like, yeah,
it's so duplicitous. It's like how they do that.
It's
but
it's as well, because duplicitous is the word, and it's because they play and especially at that time when like them times there, they are we own 3/4 of the world. That's them, and they are at the top. Like the way I was saying earlier, like the way they see the way we grew up seeing United States is what everyone saw Britain as back then, except even bigger, like even more so, because of the fact that wherever you were in the world, there's British ownership. Like they've owned it, so that level of respect. But the sort of like I guess you could I don't know if it started here, but one of the markers, the strong markers of this we are so civilized British is when they were the second to abolish slavery after Haiti, of course. They always they try and make themselves the first, but we all know that they're second. And because of that, that they put themselves in that position, everything else, like their barbarism, their savagery and such is something they pretend that they don't have, but their children might have. So they might accept that United States or Australia or
it's a distancing, because look, the English anti-lynching committee is what you were trying to remember. So the English anti-lynching committee was established in London on the last night of Ida B. Wells's second British tour. And its founding members were mostly of the liberal elite and included such notables as Duke of Argyll, the Archbishop of Canterbury, Lady Henry Somerset, and almost 20 members of Parliament. Just 20.
Wow. That shows her influence.
Yeah.
Influence.
But she's so influential, but it's also in their best interest, because remember, there's all the politics between, as you lot are describing, between America and Britain, you know, in terms of establishing that power dynamic as well. So even though, like, yes, they're viewed as this place that they don't want to kind of offend, America still wants to be number one. Do you know what I mean? So here in Britain, they have to be seen as the ones that are like leading the forefront against the kind of behavior that's going on there. Meanwhile, they still own, you know, plantations. They're still making all the money and doing all the same stuff. So it's just, I just think it's all politics, really. But
it is definitely all politics.
So back to it. So Ida B. Wells won a posthumous Pulitzer Prize. Many journalists dream of winning the Pulitzer. Oh, you know it? Pulitzer Prize. Ida B. Wells Barnett did, but not until 2020, long after she passed away.
Great.
Okay. This special posthumous prize was given for her outstanding and courageous reporting on the horrific and vicious violence against African Americans during the era of lynching. The award just further cements her legacy among the ranks of the most notable journalists in American history. This is all I have for Ida B. Wells.
Shout out to you. You carried us today, man. You carried us. You carried us. I appreciate that. So, I cannot recommend enough, to anyone who's watching this, and to both of you guys, listen to the audiobook, listen to anything that Ida B. Wells has written, because she's very poetic, you know, like really poetic in the way that she writes. I mean, not poetic like Tommy Adeyemi, do you know what I mean? Or Octavia Butler. She's like more, I don't know, like I'm listening to it and it's like she's telling a story. She's telling the story. It's very linear. It's very detailed. You know, she's describing the details of things. And it's just really interesting. It's really, let me make sure. Am I still there?
Yeah, you're still there. Something happened.
Yeah, so there. Okay, yeah. So it's really engaging, honestly. I cannot recommend enough to anybody that is listening to this. YouTube, you can find it on there, yeah? One of them is called A Red Record. The other one is called Murder in New Orleans. There are probably other audiobooks available on YouTube written by Ida B. Wells, but those are the only two that I've listened to so far. So I would say find an audiobook of Ida B. Wells and just listen to. It's not going to be in her voice, obviously, you know, in case anyone was hoping, you know, but just listen to her style of writing. Do you know what I'm saying? Listen to like the way that she's writing. I mean, the three of us are poets, yeah. So I feel like you guys will enjoy it as much as I did. It is just highly recommended. Must recommend. That is one thing that I really want to bring it into the space. I want to say that I thoroughly enjoyed listening to those over the last couple of months. Last month, sorry. I listened to one of them twice. You know, so I would definitely, and I will listen to it again. I'm sure I'll listen to it again before Auntie Jean's on Sunday still, because I just put it on double speed and plug it in my headphones while I'm making breakfast. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's it. Boom.
Yeah.
It's really good. Yeah, would definitely recommend. I'm telling you, it's such a reserved information on her, and it's more about her energies, the way that she speaks. Do you know what I'm saying? The way that she speaks. She's talking about how, like, if she goes, she's gonna sell her life as dearly as possible by making sure that she takes as many of them with her as she can before she goes. Do you know what I'm saying? But it's like the way that she says it, as she's gonna sell her life as dearly as possible. It's just like really, I don't know, man. It just speaks. That's the way that she spoke. You know, like it's very insightful. It's very beautiful. Recommended.
Warrior.
Yeah, that sounds beautiful. Like, and I can hear the poetry. So that one was called Red Line. Is it?
A Red Record.
A Red Record. And the other one is called, what's the other one called?
Murder in New Orleans.
Murder in New Orleans.
Shout out to the Kimbunga family that have turned up today in the comment section, contributing to you. Give thanks, Jeremiah and the fams. Rosie Rose also recommend the Red Record, A Red Record. Yeah, big up to Danny as well, contributing. Give thanks.
It's Selekwe.
Big up to Ayekwe. Thank you for coming through. Yeah,
big up everybody. It's been
Big
really
everybody.
We Shakira had some recommendations as well. I just wanted to add them for people who are going to go off and do their research, for people that are going to come to Auntie Jean's this Sunday and share a poem or two, you know, come up on the mic and you know, talk on your findings about Ida B. Wells. So
St. Andrew's Church in Brockley. It's the last one there, actually. It's the last one there. So if you want to catch us for the last time in Brockley, then catch us. Do not know where we're going to be in October, but the show will go up nevertheless. But if you want to catch us doing, I think, her IDB Wells, this Sunday.
The Brockley Centre.
Brockley, St. Andrew's the place to be, mum. That's the place to be. Come join the community. Come and you know, vibe with us. Come and hear the poetry that we've all written about Ida B. Wells, and bring your own. Do You know what I'm saying?
And
that
bring
whole,
your own, and
the community is growing so much. It's growing so much. When the first person we did, Patrice Lumumba, it was just the 3 of us. And now in the group chat, I feel like there's nearly 30 people. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
and more.
The community is growing over the course of 1 year. Like, we've had all of these people come and perform. Some of them have come twice. Some of them have come and not stop coming. Do you know what I mean? So I love it. I'm loving it. I'm very much so enjoying it. And I also do want to say to anyone who's watching this, something that I try to say each month as well, because obviously, you know, we respect that Kimbunga Media is an international platform. Yeah. So if you're not in London and you're not in the UK and attending Auntie Jean's market is not something that you can do, I would still encourage you to play along with us. Yeah. So each month, choose a different revolutionary mind and put in a bit of energy studying them. Just do some due diligence, you know, just give them like a once over. Do something you wouldn't normally have done. Yeah. So like read their book, their biography, or listen to it, you know, or find something that they've written, like I did with Ida B. Wells, or you know, watch a YouTube video of them speaking. You know, just study that person in a way that you wouldn't have done or you haven't done before. Find something new, you know, and just put a bit of energy into them. Do someone different every single month. Don't stop. Just keep it up, keep up, keep it up. That is what I would recommend. I'm saying we've been doing it now for like 13 months, and the impact that it has had on my personal life, on my community, has been absolutely phenomenal. We've been so encouraged by the community. There have been people who have discouraged as well, you know, but we keep it moving because, you know, we've been so encouraged. We've been so like validated. I've learned so many things. Which I'm extremely grateful for. And not only have I learned, but I've seen the young people around me learning and, you know, talking with their chest about like revolutionaries, about Frank Critchlow and about Kim Pavita. And that warms my heart, yeah, in a way that I really want you to experience. So I'm telling you, each month, choose a different revolutionary mind, study them. And you know what? Write poetry about them and perform it somewhere. You know, but you don't have to paint a picture of them, you know, or like write something about them, or, you know, just like have a conversation about them with a group of friends. But, you know, do something, honor a different ancestor every single month for the rest of your life. Yeah, there are enough ancestors. There are plenty. There's an abundance of revolutionary minds within our community. There's enough to keep you going. Don't stop. Don't stop. Don't stop. Find out the truth for yourself. Don't let no one come and tell you nothing because you've done the research yourself. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's my little message for the day. That's
you know become the truth seekers and the truth keepers, because you do that. When you do that, you become the truth seekers and the truth keepers, because there's a reason why we've been called to do this.
Yeah,
we are keeping that those legacies alive, and we're regenerating them into new forms. That's why the poetry works so beautifully. Even like coming up with songs and, like, you know, your Marcus Garvey rap and all of them things there. These are like ways to communicate the legacies of these legends to people who are coming up and need to know about them. It's all truth seekers and truth keepers, like historians, basically. Historians. That's
if not us, then who?
Yeah.
But yeah, once upon a time, if not us, then who? But yeah, once upon a time, we were having this open section, but we called this a dojo as well, right? Because you have to do all of this while getting by in life. So there was once upon a time where we did have a section at the end of this show where someone can share. So if you did want to share with us, then this would be your opportunity to do so as well on Kimbunga Media. This episode is that does come normally on the third. What is this? Is this the second Friday? What is this? Is this second or third Friday?
Third Friday.
Because it's before the third Sunday.
Yeah, third
Friday.
The Friday comes before the Sunday. We sure?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
You
the
know, I've
third
never even thought that we do this on the third Friday. I've never even thought about that, but we do. We actually do it on the third Friday of the month.
Yeah, pretty much. Normally lands on a Friday, innit?
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
So yeah, like if you wanna join us, then yeah. Nate, it's a rhetorical question.
But
really,
wait,
have you got something?
No, before that, I just wanted to shout out a couple of more readings.
Well, none of us do anyway, so it's all good.
No way. What? No lines, nothing.
No.
I'd be well. She dwelled in the hell.
Hey! Hey, come on, Stella. You know what I would say? I found there's a lot on Spotify. There's actually a lot of tracks for Ida B. Wells on Spotify, you know.
Crazy.
I saw
it's quite a few.
For this advert that he put up, I was like, I'm gonna listen to this proper later. But if you go on IG, for this episode here, he put a track up and it was called Ida B. Wells. And I was like, So
yeah, there's a few.
Yeah.
There's a few. There's actually a few. But yeah, it's because people do rate her. Like, her character is absolutely outstanding. She's so great, so dope. So do you know what I mean? You can only but write about her. So no one's got any poetry, so
I thought you were gonna give recommendations.
Yeah, I did. Can I do it now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So
is it Shakara's recommendations?
This one was from Al-Kebalan Revivalist Movement. They did a great breakdown of Ida B. Wells, and they had on there the writer of this book called A Sword Amongst Lions.
Yeah.
A Sword Among Lions, and it's by Paula J. Giddings. So A Sword Among Lions, that's one that was a recommendation by a huge fan of Ida B. Wells, Brother Olatunji, from the Al-Kebalan Revivalist Movement. If you get a chance, go on Mixcloud and you can listen to that entire interview. It's brilliant because you have two massive fans of Ida B. Wells really breaking down the nitty gritty and the intricate details.
And the detail is that the Brother Tunji is interviewing the author of that book.
Yeah.
Okay. What was her name? Paula J.
Giddings.
Thank you.
Yeah, Giddings. And it's called A Sword Among Lions. So that's one.
Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen it come up a few times actually, but I haven't was that not even the book that we saw in Uncle Nels's place?
It might have been, yeah.
I feel like it was that book, the silver book.
It was.
I think that was even it.
It was, yeah. The Sword Among Lions. So the other one was a recommendation by Brother Shakara, and it is away from my viewpoint. Bear with me, family. You can keep talking while I locate it.
So Nate, the poetry bit. What we're racing against time as usual.
We're racing against time. We are, but 2 days is more than enough time to write something. So the plan is to not write it on the day. That's the plan. But I do have a busy couple of days coming up.
Yeah. I did be the Queen by Michelle Duster. Michelle Duster is the great granddaughter of Ida B. Wells. So it's called Ida B. the Queen, Michelle Duster. And then the last one is Crusade for Justice. So Crusade for Justice by Ida B. Wells, Alfreda M. Duster, and editor on the Audible. Okay, so that's actually family members as well. So
wait, Crusade for Justice was written by Ida B. Wells or was written by someone else?
Listen to Crusade for Justice by Ida B. Wells, Alfreda M. Duster. Yeah, so Alfreda M. Duster is the family of Ida B. Wells as well.
Yeah. Okay.
So it looks like
Okay.
maybe an edit of some
Michelle
works
Duster's a
by
family member.
yeah. Michelle Duster is a family member, but also is Alfreda M. Duster.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll Google it, right. Same name.
Same name. So yeah, that's I think if we're not gonna read any poetry.
That's all, folks. Tune in next.
Let's see. Okay, so Danny said, I can attest, family, my 2 womb fruits, aged 8 and 6, also study, write, and perform poetry with the Garvey Village Poets. It's really progressive.
Yes, those are the young people Nate was referring to, and yeah, they are special. They're absolutely special.
Yeah, and
is Nate frozen?
Yes,
Nate's frozen. Oh. Well, I hope. Yeah, either Nate was frozen or we are frozen. But yeah, you're going through it. I've already done on this.
Oh, you did the one. Okay. Oh, okay, cool. So we've lost Brother Nate, but if he comes back, we are just kind of winding down now, saying thank you for joining us. This has been Stella B, Nate the lyricist. Hopefully you can get him back. And now on Kimbunga Media, formerly known as Got Kush TV, representing the revolutionary minds.
This is Out of Noise.
Out of Noise. And we are going to
just throwing out a whole different load of names. All right, so basically, Revolutionary Minds is the event at Auntie Jean's African Culture Market. We are the hosts of Auntie Jean's African Culture Market. We are also the hosts of Out of Noise, that is got its platform on Kimbunga Media, where we get to chat about Revolutionary Minds, the event created by Nate the lyricist.
Yes, so we will see you again, hopefully Sunday, when you come down with your poem all about Ida B, teach us a thing or 3, and share on the mic about this powerful human being who existed in the 1800s and showed those terrible beastards not to ramp with us. And yeah, that's it, I think.
That's it. I think Nate is trying to jump in, but for some reason we can't get you back up on there. I don't know why we're going. But yeah. Yeah. Power to the people.
Power to the people. We will see you very, very soon.
Yeah, stay tuned. Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe here. Like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Yeah.
Peace.
Be like Ida B.
Be like
Ida B.
Yeah.